we have amongst us Mr. Vinod Dham. Mr. Vinod Dham is popularly known as the father of Pentium processor for his seminal contribution to the computing industry and Intel. He has dedicated his entire professional life innovating and building chips for the semiconductor industry, ranging from non-volatile memories to microprocessors and chips for enabling voice calls on internet. For last 20 years, Mr. Dham has been dedicating his efforts in pioneering venture capital-led startups and semiconductor fabrication in India. He was one of the early Silicon Valley executives to set up an India-focused venture fund, helping pave the way for India to become the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. He is currently serving as an advisor to the Government of India's efforts to set up domestic chip making capability. He dabbles as an angel investor in the emerging high-tech industry and mentors young entrepreneurs in building successful startups. Mr. Dham is a proud and distinguished alumni of Delhi College of Engineering, now Delhi Technological University. He is a graduate of 1971 batch of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. He is also a distinguished alumni of University of Cincinnati, Ohio, where he received his master's in solid state science. I would like to request the perfect blend of vision, positive mind, and integrity, founding and executive managing partner at Indo-US venture partners and distinguished alumnus of class of 71, our guest of honor for the day, Mr. Vinod Dhamji, to deliver the address.
Thank you very much. I'll keep my speech very short so people can get up and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Delhi Technology University, Professor J.P. Saini, Professor Mukusundanji, Professor Rajesh Rohila, Professor Yasha, and Shri Karnal Singh, and Dr. Mukesh Chandra. Respected faculty and dignitaries, Diamond, Golden, and Jubilee silver graduates, dear batchmates and friends. It's indeed an honor and a distinct privilege to be a guest of honor at this esteemed event and the Golden Jubilee celebration of the graduating class of 1971. Personally, to me, it is an emotional moment that has come together after a momentous journey over the last 50 years. We all began our journey at somewhat awkward age of 16. Most of us had no idea what lay ahead of us at that time. We all learned together, experienced life, and grew together as part of our college experience. My years at Delhi College of Engineering, both inside the classroom and outside of it, helped shape my outlook to life and laid a broad foundation that helped me build upon it with higher studies in America and subsequent career in semiconductors. I'm grateful to my teachers, my friends, my colleagues who helped me go through this formative phase of my life. So many memories rush to my mind, although most of them very traumatic, that I will share a few of them, of the 5 years that I spent in the old campus of Kashmiri Gate, where we are going to head after this event. The one that stands out most, perhaps because there was so much fear associated with it, is one where most of us in EE barely passed our electronics material exam. This exam was set by our head of department, Dr. R.C. Narayanan, who used to teach us from a book not exceeding maybe 100 pages wide. So most of us really knew this material very, very well. But when the exam came, none of us really, most of us, maybe Mr. Premasija knew most of the answers, but most of us did not know anything to do with those questions. And we were all looking at each other saying, what's going to happen here? And fortunately for us, Dr. R.C. Narayan came and told us that don't worry, a third party had set this exam, and whatever you can understand in those question paper, you can write about it, and we will evaluate you based on what you write. And I think most of us just barely passed our exam based on that. Now, the other event that I think about often is that I just barely received a passing grade in strength of material. And the reason I bring those two up is if I had failed, I wouldn't be standing in front of you. So this was the other course called Strength of Material. To this date, at this age, for life of me, I do not understand why, as an electrical engineer, I had to learn strength of material. But that's a separate subject. It was taught by one professor, I think his name was Gurbaksh Singh. And not only I was not much interested in the subject at all, Gurbaksh Singh also was quite a boring teacher. So it was doubly hard for me to sit in his class, either sleep there, take an afternoon siesta, or skip the class. And I could see that he was quite irritated with my disrespect of not being present in his class. In the final exam, he only asked one question. And he said that you need to solve this problem, but you need to show all your calculations with your hand. Not that we had any calculator back then. The only thing we had was slide rule, but that wasn't allowed. So you had to use your hands to show all of the calculations that you had done. He wanted to see them. I think he was a little bit skeptical of the cheaters who may cheat the answers by looking at the student sitting next to them. I did that completely and accurately and showed all my calculations, and he gave me passing grade on that exam. And I recall going and visiting him in his office to basically present my case, and I took my exam paper with me, and I said, sir, I don't understand why you just gave me a passing grade when I did everything perfectly right. And what I recall is he looking at me, pausing and saying, you only deserve a passing grade. So I learned my lesson that it's not about what you know, it's also about how you behave. And that stuck with me for the rest of my life and actually helped me in a way. The thing I remember, I wanted to share with you things about my recall of the years that I spent here, not really get too serious about discussions here. The thing I remember is that the first 3 years, I basically lived in a fog. I had no idea what I was doing in this college. There were so many courses that we were being taught, a lot of them totally irrelevant. I think one of that comes to my mind where I, again, stumbled on a theodolite experiment of civil engineering. We had to do surveying as one of our subjects, for God's sake. And I today don't know why surveying was important for me to become an electrical or electronics engineer. So there were lots of courses. You just had to go through the exams, do all viva voces, do your practical, and somehow make it to the end. So is there anything good I remember about my 5 years? Yes, I do. My best 2 years were the last 2 years of college. Some of us were elected to go into electronics, and it's a little known secret that I'm an accidental engineer. I really never wanted to be an engineer. I always wanted to be studying physics. It was only my brother who talked me into really going into engineering college at the last minute when most of the schools' admissions had already closed all through India. So that's how I came into engineering. But my passion was always going into electronics or physics and electrons and holes and atomic structures. So I really found some of that in the last 2 years of courses that were taught in fourth and final year, and found my passion come alive. And actually those courses helped me in a very significant way get into my very first job that laid a foundation for the rest of my career and rest of my life in semiconductors. It was a company called Continental Devices India Limited, and I recall going there and interviewing, and the only questions asked to me was to analyze various stages of a radio, transistor radio, and describe what they do and how they work. And that's something we were taught in the telecom subject in the electronics last 2 years. So that helped me get into CDIL, and rest is history in terms of me finding love in semiconductors and doing everything to learn more and more about it, including going all the way to USA, taking master's degree in it to get even better at it, and then joining Intel eventually to do some of the skills that I learned, both in academics and through some experience, and apply them. So looking back at college years laid a foundation for the rest of our lives, and I'm grateful to Delhi College of Engineering for providing a very healthy, safe, and exciting environment for us to be here for those 5 years. Once again, I want to thank you all for the distinct privilege of speaking to you today as a guest of honor, and look forward to the next 2 days of fun and celebrations. Thank you.